Hello guys and gals, lords and ladies, saints and sinners of every kind. Welcome to Rise of Jerusalem, a podcast by teens for teens. I'm your host, Connor McLaughlin. And before we start, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all 61 people who watched our first podcast episode.
No, Connor. I watched it like 4 times.
True. Okay,
57.
Correction. 57 people who watched our first episode of the podcast. That makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside that our podcast is at least reaching some people. So thank you. If you are one of those 4 people who liked as well, thank you. If you were one of the 3 people who subscribed, thank you. And if you didn't subscribe, or if you didn't watch the first one, or if you didn't like the first one, or if you don't like any of them, you can go away. But if you didn't like the first one, then subscribe, because if you're subscribed, automatically you will get an email like, hey, you know that awesome podcast? There's another episode. So please subscribe. And somebody asked me if we have a social media network, and we do not. So maybe in the future we'll have Twitter or Facebook if we get cool enough. So currently with me is our co-host, our resident female, Emily Worrell. Emily?
I'm so happy to be here. Yay, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing ever. That wasn't sarcasm. And once again, I am the only one who decided to show up besides Connor, because this is Connor's house, so I'd hope Connor would be here. But Vince is not here, and it really upsets me a little bit, because Emma's not here either, because she has danced, because she does stuff with her life. Yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Is that going to be your rant for the day?
No. Oh my, so you know Canada?
Yeah.
I'm going to Canada.
Oh my god.
Over the summer. We're going to Ontario. And then we're going to go to Niagara Falls, the half that's in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to go to this cool restaurant that's apparently like in the sky. And it like turns around and you're going to see all of Canada, because why would you not want to see Canada?
You're joking, right?
No, I'm not actually.
Goodness gracious. Why are you going to Canada?
Because Mother wants to go to Canada. And what Mother does... No, what? What Mother wants, Mother gets.
Seems legitimate. No, yeah. Vince isn't here, and he has good reason to be here. Also, if we sound a little bit odd, it's because it is Holy Week. Happy Holy Week, by the way. It is Holy Week, and with Holy Week comes scheduling problems, and because we're teenagers and we have... Well, some of us have lives.
Homework. I have a life, I'll have you know. I went and I saw people yesterday, and I went to my friend's birthday party because I was invited to that. And I talk to people occasionally, and I just started a group message today, mainly for a Spanish project, but also because we're friends, and I got their phone numbers, and I text my manager, and we're super good friends. I have a life, I'll have you know.
Anyways, if we sound off, it's because we are having a problem with microphone issues. So it is not our fault if we sound really weird or muddy or anything, or she's slightly louder than I am. Let me make it the other way.
Wow, okay.
Yes, there's someone who's louder than me, folks. That is, if you know me, that's hard to believe, but it's true.
I am not. I have a decent volume level. Like, look at this. This is reasonably quiet.
But that's you, like, whispering. Vince isn't here, so he was not eaten by lions last time. He wasn't eaten by lions this time. We just had problems with scheduling.
He could have been eaten by lions.
For all we know, yes.
Who knows what he does in his free time?
What does he do in his free time? So we're going to be hitting 2 topics today. Our first one is going to be on, because it's Holy Week, we're going to be talking about the Triduum. Triduum, what's that word? Is it Greek? Yes, it is. No, it's not. What is it? What happens during it? We will be talking that, introducing you to the greatness that is the shortest liturgical year in the Catholic Church. And we'll be, for our second topic, discussing movies. So what makes a good movie? The Vatican movie list. Did you know the Vatican had an official movie list?
No, I didn't.
So yeah, we'll be addressing those topics. Hopefully, we will enlighten you, get you some good information, and have fun. Yeah, probably. Hopefully, that's what we do here. So let's start off with the Triduum. So Emily, since I'm guessing you did research this week.
Yeah, I screenshotted it. You go.
So what is Triduum?
Okay. Is that a question?
Yeah, that's a legitimate question. This is how we have started the last 2 podcasts and realized. Okay. Triduum, this is becoming a trend. I don't like this.
Wait. Is it Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday?
You are so close.
It's that Saturday.
Yes, Holy Saturday.
That's what they told me, and I'm like,
thank you.
Internet, you be wrong.
No, it's Holy Saturday.
Because they told me it was a 3-day in a row period, and I'm like, you sure?
It's Holy Saturday. So the Triduum is Good Friday, Holy Saturday.
You forgot
and
Thursday.
Holy Thursday.
It goes in order.
Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday. And those three make up the Triduum. Triduum comes from two Latin words meaning 3 and days. So it's tri and dium. So it's the 3 days. And leave it to us Catholics to make something so obvious out of Latin. So the Triduum starts with the and this is very specific, first note played on Holy Thursday. So whether it be a violin hits a chord or something, not on accident when it actually is supposed to do.
Wait, so if it's on accident, it doesn't count?
If it's on accident and they were tuning, then thank the Lord they're tuning. But it didn't start it. Or the first song that they start singing, the first note that is sung, is when the Triduum starts. So the first half of Holy Thursday isn't part of the Triduum, which is kind of cool. And then the second day, then it ends with evening prayer. The Triduum ends with evening prayer on Easter Sunday. And if you don't know what Easter prayer is, we'll be talking about that in a different
so
episode.
Easter Sunday is a part of the Triduum.
Yeah.
I was told it wasn't.
Well,
I've been lied to.
That's
by you. You've lied to me. Try to make me sound stupid.
Well,
and if you think about it, that's 4 days. You know what try means? Not 4. No, it doesn't.
That's mean.
How does it mean?
Anyways, the Triduum is, that's when it starts and ends. It's complicated how it works because Easter isn't in the Triduum because it starts the Easter season, but Triduum ends with evening prayer on Easter Sunday.
Are there 2 seasons going at one moment in time on Easter?
No.
So it's done. Done completely.
Yeah.
But not.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
It is. This is how it equals 3 full days. Because the Furon of Holy Thursday, because it doesn't count, it flips over to Easter. So that first time...
Oh, because only like the first half of Easter.
Exactly. And then
the second half of Thursday, I got it.
So then it makes up 3 full 24-hour periods.
Math.
Is what it is.
Math.
So it is in 4 days, but it's in 3 24-hour periods.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So now that that's under the way.
If you think about it, you sleep through like a third of it.
So?
Sleep. Who needs it?
True.
Anyway. Holy Thursday, the Last Supper. I knew that, guys. If you listened to last week, you know that. That happened on a Thursday. Jesus being betrayed and arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Gethsemane.
Who cares about pronunciation? Not me.
That's one of the only... If you read the Passion, that's one of the only words that you pronounce it like it looks like. Gethsemane.
I know, I tried to guess and not pronounce it like it looked like. Gethsemane.
Gethsemane.
Gethsemane. Gethsemane. All right. So, yeah. All right. On Holy Thursday, there's the Last Supper. There's Jesus being betrayed and arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane. Pronounced it wrong again.
Gethsemane.
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 Gethsemane. I can't
Gethsemane.
do it. It's Spanish. They pronounce things weirdly.
This isn't in Spain, though.
Gethsemane. I know, but I go to write on my paper and I write like stupid things.
Okay.
Like instead of writing in, I write N-E-N because that's what you do in Spanish. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not good in Spanish class.
That's what I do.
Now I'm not good in English.
That's what I do with Latin. Like instead of writing on account of, I'll write propter.
Yeah.
And no, Latin is not a dead language. No one put that in the comments below.
My friend's taking Latin.
It's not a dead... Well...
They don't speak any of it.
That's lame.
That's why they don't have an 8.
Vince speaks Latin.
Well, good for Vince.
Here's what happens in complete order on Holy Thursday in the year 33
Oh yeah, they
AD.
Jesus washed his disciples' feet somewhere in there. Why are you clapping? I knew that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you honestly?
Honestly, I did. Like, how would I not know that? You literally didn't tell me anything in the minute that I said that and before I said that.
You know, I don't need to clap, just...
Well,
there we go.
Thanks
Much better.
for that.
Much better clapping.
Thanks for that.
So, yes, he washed the apostles' feet, and then he had the first mass, and then he announced very loudly that Peter would deny him.
Yeah, he wasn't quiet about it. And Peter's like, "Nuh-uh, no, I won't." And Jesus is like, "Shut up, Peter, sit down."
But he was right, though, because Jesus is always right. And then he held all the stuff that happened in the 5 chapters of John, from John 13 to 18.
Not 4 chapters, not 6 chapters.
5 chapters. And then he sings a song.
Oh, that's nice.
I love it. Jesus actually just straight up goes and sings a song. It's like, I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm going to sing with y'all.
And for tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm going to sing with you guys.
Let's sing a song. Do you know the song he sang? Was it in Latin?
It was probably... No, I actually do know what it was. I don't know how to sing it, obviously.
Well, you need to get on that.
It was a Jewish... Because you have to remember that Holy Thursday was a representation of... Jesus was a Jew. He was a faithful Jew.
Right.
And so he was in Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. And so the song that he would have been singing would have been a... They would have sang a few songs. They had a way that they would do the whole Passover. And the song would have been a song... I think that one would have been the Song of Rejoicing.
I can't see on.
No.
I think that song in Spanish.
No.
Cantante is singer.
If you really want to learn more about it, I recommend the book, the book or the CD, The Fourth Cup by Dr. Scott Hahn. He addresses everything that goes on Holy Thursday and into Good Friday, and the how you can flip that back over to the Old Testament, and in the Old Testament, hear how he fulfills the whole, like, the Lamb of God idea, how they sprinkled the blood to prevent the angel of death from coming. In the same way, Jesus was the Lamb of God, that his blood was poured out such that the death of sin would go away. It basically takes that and then takes a bunch more stuff, and it talks about the songs that they sang and the Jewish custom at the time and stuff like that. So if you really want to learn more, it's called The Fourth Cup by Dr. Scott Hahn, who is a professor of theology at Franciscan University of Steubenville and a convert to the faith. But he's like insanely knowledgeable, like Thomas Aquinas knowledgeable. Anyways, after he sings...
Jesus es un cantante. That's Jesus is a singer in Spanish. Guys, yeah.
After that, after he sang, or es un cantante or whatever...
Jesus es un cantante. That's how you say Jesus.
He goes up to the Mount of Olives, which if you had heard, that's where he had been before. He'd been up there before in the gospel. And then on the Mountain of Olives, he goes to pray in a garden.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, hey, y'all, you should come stay up with me. And they're like, okay, Jesus. And then they don't.
Exactly.
They go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. It's Peter, James, and John. And Jesus is like, stay with me while I pray a while. And they're like, we're just going to fall asleep.
And then they did.
And then they did, and then Jesus comes back and he's like,
why didn't you stay awake? I told you to stay awake.
And they're like, okay, we'll stay awake. And then he goes away and they fall asleep again.
They do.
This is human nature, guys.
They lied to Jesus. I bet Jesus knew they lied.
But what's more important is what Jesus does when he goes away is he's praying. And I'm sure you've heard the whole, if you can take this cup away from me, please. If not, I will receive it, sort of a thing. Where he's like, you've heard that a million times. What it means is that he's saying, oh, God, I don't want to die. I don't want to be this sacrifice that people have been waiting for years.
But if you want me to, I will.
Yeah. Basically, he's like, please, 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 don't make me have to go through this. But if I have to, I will do it because you're God, and I love you, and I love the people who I will save through this.
Yeah, it's like when your mother makes you clean your room, and you're like, no, Mom, I don't want to do that. And she's like, you're going to clean your room, or I will literally take everything in your room, throw it out of your window, and make you go and get it all, and bring it back to your room.
The difference between
and you say, okay, Mom, I'll go clean my room.
But the difference is that Jesus did it out of love, not out of fear that all of his stuff would get broken.
Same thing, Connor.
No, completely different. Okay. That's where you go into fear of God versus the love of God. And then when he's up in the Garden of Gethsemane, he prays some more, and then he comes back, and the final time he wakes up his apostles, and he was like, really, you guys didn't stay awake? But beware, my betrayer is near.
And they said,
they upturn.
Jesus, no, he's not Jesus. No one would betray you, Jesus. Jesus, you're Jesus.
And then Judas turns around and be like, what's up, Jesus? And kisses him on the cheek.
Now the disciples are like, oh, you betrayed Jesus.
I can see a
meme.
You
betrayed Jesus.
There is a meme of Jesus, and they're all at the Last Supper, and they're all holding lightsabers. and Judas has a red one, and beneath it has the caption, "If only detecting evil was just this easy."
Right? That's how you knew.
That's how you know.
That's how you knew.
But beforehand...
It's when their lightsabers are green, it gets kind of iffy.
No, green is good.
Green is good?
Only bad is bad. Red is bad.
Only bad is bad.
Only red is bad.
Because blue was good.
But if you listened to Palm Sunday, the gospel, when Mary Magdalene, I want to say, takes the the vial of perfume and like dumps it over Jesus' feet.
I don't think they gave
feet.
her a name. They just said the eccentric woman.
Adulteress.
Same thing.
Not even close. When that happens, Judas gets all annoyed and he's like, "Yo, Jesus, why didn't you like take all her money and give it to the poor instead of being with you?" And Jesus is like, "Judas, this woman just gave me a great gift.
Judas, chill.
This
chill,
isn't hippie Jesus." No, okay, back to... Anyways, so that happens, and he's betrayed, and Peter is like, "Oh!" He pulls out his sword and cuts off a guy's ear.
Because that was completely logical, Peter. Thank you for that, Peter.
Remember, Peter was also the guy at the Transfiguration who was all like, "Oh, Jesus, I see Elijah and Moses with you. If you want, we can just build you all tents, and we can have a campfire and sing Kumbaya."
Peter, I'm going to have to ask you to step back. Step back from Jesus.
Peter was very, what's the right word? Eccentric. Jesus is, angry at Peter. He's like, "Why'd you cut off my ear? I already told you once that I had to go to Jerusalem after I called you devil." What?
Peter didn't cut off Jesus' ear. You literally just said mine.
I meant, yeah. Let me rephrase that. Peter cut off the servant's ear, the soldier's ear, who came to Jesus to arrest Jesus.
The servant's ear?
Yeah.
He was like a guard dude.
So after Peter cut off the Roman guard's ear to come with Jesus, if you think about it, Peter was also the one who, when they were going up to Jerusalem, and Peter's like, "Why are we going to Jerusalem?" And Jesus said, "Oh, well, I have to go and die." And he's like, "That's not going to happen, Jesus.
Jesus, you're too good for that,
we're never going to let that happen." And Jesus is all like, "Get behind me, Satan." And so once again, even after Jesus literally called him the devil, Peter's like, "No, not happening." Pulls out his sword and cuts off the guy's ear.
Yeah.
Can you really blame him, though? This is the guy who you believe to be the Son of God, and he's going to be taken away to more than likely be killed. And
Peter won't walk on water again. He won't do it.
That makes... Oh, I see what you're saying.
You get it? You
get
it?
I see what you're saying.
Because Jesus had to do that for Peter. Because Peter's not cool. Peter can't walk on water without Jesus.
Ha! I was right. He is a servant. The guy who he cut off his ear. The guy's name was Malchus, and he was the servant of the high priest.
Priest servant.
His name was Malchus.
That's a higher than a regular servant. You weren't giving him enough credit.
Well, yeah, I'll give you that. And then Jesus is like,
Peter?
Yells at
cut
Peter.
Off his ear? You can just leave his ear where it was? What's wrong with you, boy?
No, then he just picks up his ear and just heals the guy.
I know.
Because Jesus is Jesus. I think that's really underrated, because Jesus you hear about him raising the dead and healing the leper. Jesus literally just repairs a guy's ear. That is underrated miracle. # underrated miracle.
You go, Jesus.
It's pretty awesome. So then he was taken, and this is like midnight. He was taken before the high priests, Annas and Caiaphas. And then Peter did the whole denying him 3 times outside of the campfire.
And the cock crowed.
And the cock crowed twice.
Not once, but twice.
Though honestly, once you hear a cock crowing, which is a rooster, by the way, wouldn't you just think, "Oh,
Peter.
Hey, hold on a minute. Didn't
Peter.
Jesus say something about
No, Peter.
the rooster crowing?" So if you want to read the full gospel accounts of what happened on Holy Thursday, you should read Matthew 26, 17-75, Mark 14, 12 through 72,
Luke 22, 7 through 62, and John 13,
1 through 18:27. So that's what happened on Holy Thursday. Now let's switch over to Good Friday. What happened in the Bible? Right after Peter denied him, right after that he was taken before Pontius Pilate in the morning, and then Pontius Pilate sent him back to Herod, and then Herod sent him back to Pilate.
And then you know what Pilate does?
What?
He sentences Jesus to death, probably.
Nope. That happens later.
Oh, great.
First off, you have to think about where Pilate is. He is a Roman, and the Jews are coming to him, and they're all like, "This guy is a religious criminal. We can't have him saying
Oh my
anything."
God, I just remembered what happens. Okay.
What happens, Emily?
Oh, okay. So they're like, well, we'll give the people a choice because them people be
Nope, something else happens
stupid.
for that. So here's what
I don't know
happens.
what
So think about
happens.
this. Pilate, so you have to take into account that Pilate was a Roman, and the Jews come before him and say, this man is a religious criminal. If you are a Roman and the Jews come to you, this guy, you have to have a better reason than, well, he's saying that he's the son of God. And you're like, I believe in Jupiter and...
Ew,
Wait,
Roman.
no, is that Greek?
No,
Jupiter is Roman.
Jupiter's Roman.
Yeah, I believe in Jupiter
Jupiter,
and Venus
Venus,
and the other
Minerva.
one. Let's just name the planet Neptune. There's the planets Mercury.
Pluto.
Mercury is one, I think.
Mercury,
is
Venus,
a god.
Earth, Mars.
So
Mars,
Mars.
Jupiter, Saturn is Kronos. Probably.
We're not talking that was last week's
Jupiter,
talk.
Saturn, Uranus.
Anyways, so he doesn't care about
Neptune.
the Jewish god. Those are his gods. And so he's like, guys, got to come up with something better for me than that. And they're like, well, he's people are he's disturbing the peace. And
his shirt doesn't match his loincloth.
They wore togas.
I don't care.
My goodness. So, Pilate's like, okay, well, maybe I really don't want to kill this guy. He seems like a nice guy, and my wife just told me that he had a dream about this guy, that he was going to come, and that he was completely innocent. So maybe I'll just have him beaten, and then
nice.
The Jews will get off my case.
That's
So
nice.
he has, and then the second sorrowful mystery where Jesus is whipped at the pillar and put the crown of thorns on him. They put the purple robe around him, and they hit him with a reed.
Yeah.
And it's basically a giant game of dress up made to mock him, because the Romans honestly don't care, because they've been doing this for years. Crucifixion is the way that they roll when they want to kill somebody. So then they come back. He comes back from being whipped, and when they whip him, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to hit him with some rope. It's, we're going to hit you with basically the equivalent of cat o' nine tails, which is one rope, and then it splits off into 9 ropes, and they put bones and glass and rocks
Dear
attached
Lord.
to that. And so they'll just start whipping you one way, one way, one way, one way, one way. And the Jews had a certain number that they were going to do for the Jews when they would whip a man. The Romans didn't care, so they just kept beating him and beating him. So he would have pretty much had all of the skin off his back falling off, and probably some of his muscles in his back were cut. And so Pilate's like, "Are you guys satisfied now?" And Jews are like, "No, we're not satisfied now."
We're very
the
upset.
Jewish leaders are like, "No, we're not. We want him dead."
The pilot's like, fine, you know what, guys? I'll let you release one criminal into the crowd of you weirdos. So you can either release Jesus or Barabbas, who's like a mass murderer, probably an axe murderer. Anyway, and the Jews are like, let's release Barabbas because that's a bright idea. Let's set the mass murderer free because I don't fear for my life.
Yeah, and if you read in, I want to say it's John, where it says that the Sanhedrin paid the people to cheer for Barabbas instead.
What?
So the high priest, the religious people,
Bribery
would prefer
prefer
the mass murderer to Jesus. That's how much they really hated Jesus.
bribery going on since 0 AD.
33.
Same thing.
No. So then Pilate's like, fine, I guess I have to kill this Jesus, even though I really don't want to.
What you want me to do?
But
And
you know
they
what? I'm
say,
just going to wash my hands of
"Crucify
this whole
him.
occasion. Literally.
Crucify
That's where it came
him."
from. Washing your hands. He just washed his hands. He's like, this blood isn't on my hands.
Look
You
at
guys
that.
do what you want with him. I'll give you some Romans to kill him. Because he didn't want to make the death order. Which is, think about Pilate.
Nice guy.
A guy, well, he condemned Jesus to death, but he didn't, not a nice guy.
That's not nice at all.
At all.
How dare you, Pilate?
Well, you have to think about how Pilate, this was his job, was to keep the peace. And so he didn't want to kill an innocent man, though. But he knew that if he didn't, the Sanhedrin would get really annoyed at him, and he would pretty much lose his job. And so he didn't want to lose his job, and so he's like, I wash my hands of the whole thing, I'll give you some Romans to kill him, do what you want with him. And the Jews are like,
Okay,
sound
let's
good.
crucify
The high priests are
him.
like, sounds good.
Let's crucify. That's fun. I'll bring the popcorn.
They didn't have popcorn.
They could have had popcorn.
No, they didn't.
You didn't live in that time. You
They
didn't know
have
Jesus.
popcorn.
Don't act like you
We
and
don't
Jesus
have
were
records
friends.
of popcorn until much later. Anyway, so that's happening on Good Friday, and then he's brought up. Then you can go into the whole Stations of the Cross that goes along the whole way. There's 13.
That's many more than a few.
Well, there's 14 if you count Jesus is risen from the dead.
I don't count that.
Neither do I personally, but hey, there are 14 of them.
One of them is Jesus falls. Another is Jesus falls for the second time.
And another is he falls for the third time.
I know.
And one is he meets his mother. One is Simon of Cyrene helps him carry his cross. Imagine Simon of Cyrene. He's just this random dude walking along the road and with his two sons, Rufus and Alexander. And they're like, hey, you, random dude, I'm going to make you carry Jesus' cross. And he's like, really? And the Roman guard's like, yeah, get up here.
He's like, okay.
And so he's like, fantastic. I have to carry a giant piece of lumber for
this man that I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to admit, how did he feel? Pretty bummed out,
right?
I wonder if he stayed, or if he was like, "Oh, I have stayed for the crucifixion," or was just like, "Oh, I have something better to do."
I bet people threw stuff at him, like, "Hey, you put that cross down."
At Simon?
Yeah.
No, I doubt it.
I don't know. Maybe they threw stuff at Jesus.
I'm sure they threw stuff at Jesus, but they wouldn't have thrown somebody ahead, because Simon would have been listed as an unofficial servant of Rome. So to throw something at him would be a public offense.
Oh wow! Okay.
Veronica wipes his face, which gives us that beautiful image that is not the Shroud of Turin. Good golly, my mind just went blank. What is it called?
Veronica's cloth.
Veronica's cloth. Just call it Veronica's cloth. It has an official term, but I don't. And then they strip him of his garments. They hang him up. They nail him to the cross. They pull the cross up. They gamble for his clothes. Mm-hmm. Well, because if you think about it, his cloth was. They say that it was a cloth that had no seams. That means it was woven very well and had to take a lot of time. So it was a nice cloth. So a lot of people think, that was probably given to him by someone from Galilee, because that's generally where they made that. And there's a great 1,000-page book called The Robe, all about the Roman centurion. Yeah, it's the robe. The Roman centurion who got the robe of Jesus, and what happened to him after that. How his journey to finding out the person who was Jesus through the robe.
Wow.
It's a great book, if not for being 1,048 pages. And there's also a movie made off of it that's actually a really good movie, surprisingly.
Is it on the Vatican's reading list?
No, it's not. At least, I don't think it is.
Watching list?
I'm pretty sure it's not. And then, Jesus was crucified between the two thieves. One of the thieves is like, if you're the Son of God, just come down. The other thief's like, heck nah, bro. Leave Jesus alone. He doesn't deserve to be up here. He's like, Jesus, remember me when you come to your kingdom. Jesus says, amen, amen, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Forgives him. He entrusts the Blessed Virgin to his disciple John. And then he says his famous 7 last words, and then he cries out and he dies.
It takes 6 hours after he gets nailed to the cross.
Yeah, it takes 6 hours. So imagine, here's what happens.
Yeah, after he's been whipped until his skin is literally falling off of his back. There's the crown of thorns. He's forced to carry his cross all the way to the mountain where they're going to crucify him. They throw stuff at him. His life sucks, and he's super exhausted and everything. Then they physically nail him to the cross, and then he's stuck there for 6 hours before he dies.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link in the description below for a video about Mark Hart discussing really the science behind what happened with really and it's not for the faint of heart, honestly, because it's pretty graphic about, it doesn't show any images, just the words that he's saying are about how Jesus went, more of how I talked about the cat o' nine tails, how it would be really painful. It's just like that, except for it goes through the entire crucifixion process. So what the thorns would have done to his brain, what the whipping would have done, how the carrying of the cross would have affected him, how the entire crucifixion would have hurt him, the science behind what happened to his body. Take some time and watch it, because it's 7 minutes, I think, and it's really, really in-depth. You're like, holy cow, I never knew that happened. Because it's gruesome what crucifixion was. Because generally when we think, crucifixion, you think, the crucifixion of Christ. But the Romans had been crucifying people for years. And then after that, after he died, there was darkness that occurred all over the land, and there was an earthquake, and then the veil in the temple that separated the Holy of the Holies, which only the priest was allowed to go into, was torn in half, exposed to the rest of the temple, and then a soldier pierces Christ's side, and blood and water flow out. And then Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate's like, he's already dead? Man, you guys are fast. And they wanted to get him down before the Sabbath day, and so which was on Saturday at that time. And then he was buried. They took him off, buried Jesus in Joseph of Arimathea's tomb. They put a guard over the tomb, and all Jesus' friends and family went up to the upper room and cried. So that's what happened historically throughout the 2 days, which is really quite sad if you really think about it. But then what about what happens today? What do we do? Do you know? What we do in like Mass for Holy Thursday and Good Friday? That's what I thought.
Silence.
Complete silence. So what we do on Holy Thursday... On Holy Thursday, with Mass, it actually used to also be called Maundy Thursday, from the Latin word mandatum, or mandate. Comes from the Latin text in John 13:34. Mandatum novum do vobis ut diligatis invicem sicut delexi vos, which translates in English to, a new commandment I give unto you, love one another as I have loved you. So what happens is you can only actually have one Mass on Holy Thursday. No other Mass is allowed.
Oh, I knew that one too.
But the Chrism Mass. And the Chrism Mass is when the bishop of your diocese takes all the holy oils, the 3 oils, the oil of the infirm, the oil of the catechumens, and the chrism oil. He blesses them so that they can be sent out to the rest of the parishes in his diocese. It's hard to talk today. And then generally in the evening, they hold what's known as the Mass of the Lord's Supper. Do you know what happens in the Mass of the Lord's Supper?
Holy oils are consecrated.
I just said that.
Okay, I know you just said that.
So a lot of people haven't actually ever been to a Holy Thursday Mass, which is really...
Oh, they wash the feet.
Thank you, Emily.
I don't know why I didn't know that. I went last year and the year before.
Thank you, Emily.
That was not appreciated.
So they wash the feet, but they start off, they come in, and then the priest often performs washing of the feet. It's not required to do the washing of the feet, but it's representing how Jesus did. And a few years ago, Pope Francis actually went into... It would have been last year, actually. Dang, Pope Francis has been a pope for... Holy cow. He's been pope for that long already. He went into a prison and watched the inmates' feet, including a Muslim girl's feet, which is pretty, explosion in the brain.
A few years ago, my sister went to the Mass of the Lord's Supper, and she got her feet washed, and she had a Band-Aid before they washed her feet, but she didn't when
really?
She came home, yeah. Yeah, this was in Kentucky, of course, but yeah.
Wow, that's...
we laughed at her
I feel sorry for the priest.
That is so funny.
That's bad. So, they do the washing of the feet, and then they pretty much proceed Mass as normal until you get to the end. At the end of Mass, they will they will strip the altar of all of the cloths on it and make it completely bare. And then they will take all of the hosts, and they will have a procession with the cross and candles and incense, and they will process to a place that they have reserved, not generally the reservation chapel or where the tabernacle generally is. They'll have a separate place where people can adore. And this is actually interesting. I was reading this document called Pascilis Solemnitatis, which is...
AKA something that nobody but random nerds can pronounce.
Basically the solemn sacrifice.
Basically the same thing I just said.
Anyways, and it says that under no circumstances is the tabernacle to be made to look like a tomb, because you're not mourning Jesus yet. You're adoring the fact that he instituted the Eucharist. And they leave it out there till midnight at our church, and it's you can just pray in adoration and be like, yes, Jesus died for me, but also before that, he instituted the Eucharist, which is really the foundation of the church. The Eucharist is the... Oh my goodness, what is it? The Eucharist is the...
Lamb of God, you take
it's not the Lamb of God.
away the
Is that our Jeopardy music?
sins of the world.
That's not what it is. No, it's the...
Have mercy on us. Those might be the words.
That is the words, but it's
go
the
me.
something in foundation of... I feel so bad because I know what it is. It is the...
Plot twist, he doesn't.
It's the foundation of our faith. There's another word in there. It's the something in foundation of our faith. Please don't mock me. I actually know what it is. My brain is dying right now.
No, he doesn't.
I actually do know what it is.
No, he doesn't.
So it's the foundation of our faith, and you can adore. So on Good Friday, Mass starts off unlike any other because it's not a Mass. It is in actuality Holy Friday is the one day of the year that you're not allowed to have Mass. Not only that, but you shouldn't have any other sacraments except for anointing of the sick if necessary and penance and baptism if it's an emergency. So you can't get married on Good Friday.
What if I wanted to get married on Good Friday?
Then the church would be like, you can't be.
Will I be excommunicated?
Probably not.
All right.
Dang it, she's going to do it. It starts off with complete silence, with only the priest and the deacons coming in. And they come in and then they lay themselves upon the floor in veneration for a minute, and then they get up and they start. And so there's no singing, and it's just like, normal until you get to about after the homily, where the priest does the veneration of the cross. Generally, this will occur either with him pulling out a smaller cross and uncovering it, or in our church, we have this ginormous cross, and the priest will process him with a bunch of other people carrying it, and they will place it in a place where afterwards they can, the congregation can come and venerate the cross. And so they do that, and then afterwards, y'all will probably know this if you ever went to Good Friday Mass, is the part where the Mass aerobics part, where you just kneel and stand, kneel and stand, kneel and stand, where the priest is praying for individual groups. He prays for the Universal Church, he prays for persecuted Christians, etc., etc. And he'll say a prayer usually like, Lord God, please help all those who are suffering, except for much longer. And then he will, a deacon or something will say, please kneel, and you kneel. Please stand, you stand back up, and then repeat. Over and over and over and over again, like 10 times.
You want to do it 10 times?
No, it is 10 times.
Please kneel.
Please stand.
Please kneel. That's you.
Please stand. We're done. So, and then after that, you would think the Mass would proceed as normal, but remember...
It doesn't. It really...
Of course it doesn't.
It's very different.
The altar is stripped, so there's nothing on the altar. So the altar they'll have to put an altar cloth back onto it, and then they will bring the hosts that they had leftover from... I don't want to say leftover because that makes Jesus seem like some old meatloaf from the other day. And they'll bring it out so that the congregations can still receive a communion service. And then they'll, do a communion service, and then either after the priest processed in, or in our church we do it after the entire Mass, you will have a chance to go up and venerate the cross. Either, my cousin gave the cross a hug, and stood there for like 5 minutes.
That?
You can give the cross a hug if you feel like it.
I'm going to give the cross a hug.
The cross needs a hug. You can kiss the cross, you can just kneel and touch the cross, and then you can just sit there for hours and hours and just venerate the cross. And then also some Spanish congregations like to do this thing where they will take the body of Christ and they will bring it out to a graveyard as if they're burying Jesus. And you got to admit, that's pretty cool. So don't forget, though, that fasting and abstinence are required on Good Friday. If you don't know what that is...
Starve yourself.
Listen to our last podcast.
Same thing.
And so that's really what happens on those 2 days. Holy Thursday and Good Friday. And the cross can be venerated, it's just how you want to do it. You just can think upon the cross. 2 really great songs that I like to listen to, not in the middle of the church, but on Good Friday, are "You Were on the Cross" by Matt Maher. And
Matt Maher's a great man.
He is.
I will meet him one day.
He is a saint. "Lead Me to the Cross" by, there's a million artists who did it. Chris Tomlin has covered it. Phillips Craig and Dean has covered
Tomlin
it.
is the
Francis
man.
Wesley has covered it.
Chris Tomlin is my idol, man. Besides, not like a false idol. Like, I look up to him as a person, not as Jesus, because that's not right. Not at all. No.
Anyways, those are 2 really good songs to listen to then. And then on Easter, y'all know enough about Easter that we're not really going to talk about it.
Do they? Do they know about Easter?
They do. We trust our listeners enough to think that they know what happens on Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday, spoiler alert, Jesus comes back to life.
Oh my God, I didn't get that far. God, you literally just ruined it for me. I don't know.
How long have you been Catholic? And then another thing that you can do is do the Stations of the Cross. If you don't know what the Stations of the Cross are, do them. Look them up and do them. If you get the Laudate app, which we'll discuss more in length when Vince is here. Laudate is a free app that
I don't have it.
Lets you, and you should get it. Like, it's a fantastic app. It has a confession. It has like how to do a good confession on there. It has a Bible on there. It has the readings for the day from the Mass. It has Saints of the Day. It has an interactive rosary on there with all of the prayers and such. But it has the Stations of the Cross on there. And it has like 4 different ones. It doesn't matter which one you do, but it has 4 different Stations of the Cross, and they're all awesome. And so that's Good Friday and Holy Saturday in a nutshell.
The Triduum.
The Triduum, yes. So now y'all know what the Triduum is. Attend Holy Thursday Mass, attend Good Friday Mass, because they are all Good Friday
Easter
service.
Sunday Mass.
You have to attend Easter Sunday Mass.
I know, it's required.
It's required.
It's
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
So go to those. They're fantastic.
I'm going.
Especially now that you know what actually happens.
I might just skip school on Friday and go.
It's at like night.
Ew. Never mind.
It's at 7.
I might.
And then also on Holy Saturday, that is another day in which, besides the Easter Vigil, which if you go to that, have fun, because it's about 4 hours long, and that's when they receive all
Easter
of the
Vigil?
Vigil.
Same thing.
It's when they bring all of the new people into the church. All of the new baptized and confirmed.
Job.
Oh, I just got what you're referencing. And so they'll have a baptism and the priest will confirm the RCIA, which is the Rite of Christian Initiation for adults. He'll accept them into the church as full Catholics, and they'll receive their first communion as well. And so if you go to that, I personally have actually never been to an Easter Vigil Mass.
Oh, really?
Sadly.
I've been to like 3 of them.
Have you really?
Yes.
We
always go, and I'm always like, Mom, can we go to the short one? And she's like, yeah, honey, we're going to go to the short one. And then we don't. And I'm just, because we're lazy, and we don't like to get up at like 11 o'clock.
It's really beautiful. It's really a beautiful
It is
Mass.
really nice. I went to one, and we started outside, and we had candles. And
they
all have candles usually.
It is a really beautiful Mass.
I fell asleep
I wish I
once.
could make it. So that is all about the Triduum and what happens. It's a good time to say, email us if you want us to talk about anything.
And by us, Connor means Connor, because I'm not allowed into the email, because I'll probably send weird messages to people, but I mean, hey.
So our second topic, like we said at the beginning of the episode, is on movies. What makes good movies? What makes bad movies? What makes movies that you should go see? What are movies that you shouldn't go see? So I'm sure there are movies that have come out recently that you can automatically think of that you're like, yeah, not going to go see that movie. Probably not for the reason that it was against, that you're like, oh, that movie is sinful. Although it probably is. I'm sure you can think
Connor,
of one.
what movies have you thought about watching?
I'm sure I didn't think about watching. I'm saying that have come out recently. But I wanted to address the different types of movies that there are, and that there are good movies that you can watch that aren't completely full of sin and badness. And so we're going to hit that topic, starting off with, did you know, Emily, we already said that you knew, about the Vatican movie list?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that the Pope had a reading list, or watching list, or movie list. I don't know what he has.
It's a movie list.
I know that.
So the Vatican movie list is a list that the Vatican compiled back in 1995 on the 100th occasion of the start of cinema. And they compiled a list of 45 great films. So these 45 movies are into 30 categories, being religion, values, and art.
Is that Wikipedia, Connor?
So some of the movies...
That's Wikipedia. Oh, Emily, don't trust Wikipedia. It's not a good source, Emily. Look at you.
This is the only place that
Look
had
at you
it.
now.
Though. This is the only place that had it.
I recognize Wikipedia's style, okay? I knew that was Wikipedia.
I'm going to name some of the movies, and we'll see if you've ever heard of them. Have you ever heard of Babette's Feast?
No.
Ben-Hur?
No. Yes!
I was about to say. The Flowers of St. Francis. That's a great movie. A Man for All Seasons. Fantastic movie. I'm sure you've never seen it.
No.
The Passion of Joan of Arc. That's a great movie. The Passion of Joan of Arc. You've really seen that one. Oh, wow. Au revoir les enfants.
What now?
It's a movie about, and this is a tearjerker movie, so watch at your own discretion, about a priest who harbors Jewish kids during World War II.
Oh.
It's a very, very, very sad movie, but it's a beautiful film. Chariots of Fire.
No.
You've never seen Chariots of Fire?
Should I have?
It's a beautiful movie.
Is it really popular?
It's a classic. It's about the Olympians, and they're both track runners. Oh. And one guy's like an atheist, and one guy's doesn't believe in Christ, and one guy's like a faithful churchgoer. Oh. You've never seen it?
I don't think so.
Have you heard of it?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. I'm sure you've heard of this one, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I've watched it several times.
Schindler's List. I'm sure you've heard of that one.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Citizen Kane. We've all heard of that one.
Have we?
Yeah, you've heard of it, trust me.
Okay.
Fantasia, the Disney movie.
I've seen that.
That is on the Vatican's movie list. Little Women.
Yes.
Nosferatu, the vampire movie.
No.
It's a classic. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
No, these aren't movies that the Vatican... This is just movies that the Vatican has said, these are good, like, these are great movies. These are great films. So if you look it up, just look it up on Wikipedia.
Because Wikipedia is a great source that many people, including Emily, uses, and we all enjoy it very much so.
These movies are... I mean, I've seen a few of them. I would love to try to watch all of them. If you have seen every single movie on the Vatican movie list, though, like, we will mention your name on there. What?
2.5 week long movie marathon.
We're not doing that. There's over 45 movies.
That's why I said 2.5 weeks long. I scheduled food and sleeping.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. So those aren't the only good movies that there are for Catholics or people who just want to watch good movies.
Yeah.
Can you think of any good movies?
I can. Big Hero 6, guys.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That was so great. I finally watched it the other week.
That was a fantastic movie.
I woke up at 6 a.m. just to see it because I had other stuff that I really had to do. And it was I cried like 7 times. I cried so many times. It was so great. In
1929, Pope Pius... So we're discussing that movies aren't bad. Movies still have a potential to be good. And in 1929, Pope Pius XI praised the ability to make worthy films. And in Divini Ilius Magistri, which is a papal encyclical, Pope Pius noted that bad films are occasions of sin, but good films promote a moral influence on the viewers and on society in general. So popes have said movies are not a bad thing. Movies are good if they are used for the right purpose. And they can be, just like the Vatican movie list has religion and art as different topics, movies can be about anything, as long as, if it's a good movie and it focuses on morals or beauty. That's the difference in that. JP2, Pope John Paul II, wrote an article called Letter of His Holiness, Pope John Paul II, to Artists. And read it because it's beautiful. He's addressing artists who are musicians or filmmakers and discussing the greatness that is beauty and how the church, not only does the church need art and art needs the church, but that the ability to make good art, such as film or music and such, is channeling of the Holy Spirit upon the one person, which is pretty cool if you think about it.
Pretty neat.
And if you JP2, this is going even further into saying that the church does not go against movies or film or in any way. A lot of people say, "Oh, the church is anti art and anti-culture because they won't allow movies that are something about color, maybe
50 Shades of Grey.
Possibly.
I'm just gonna do it. Take one
just
for the team.
straight out say it. Yeah, that's a not good movie. We're just gonna straight up say that. Don't go see that movie. Now there are R-rated movies that are good. For example, what's an obvious one? The Passion.
That's rated R?
Yeah.
My mother showed it to me when I was 10 years old.
It's an R-rated movie.
Mommy.
It's visually it's a classic and it's visually graphic. Like, it's not a movie that...
I've seen it like 7 times.
It's a beautiful film.
Thanks, Mom.
I'm going to finally watch it this year for the first time because I've never had a chance
Mom.
to watch it. I've always been so busy.
You have fun with that. And think about
I want to see it. I want to see it because it's a classic and a beautiful film.
Think about me seeing it when I was 10 years old.
I feel sorry for you.
Thanks, Mom. Oh, Emily, it's Easter. Let's watch The Passion. Mom, what's that? You'll find out, honey. Thanks, Mom.
There's also some fantastic movies about the saints out there. For example, Saint Rita is a fantastic movie. Saint John Bosco, A Man for All Seasons, we mentioned, is about Saint Thomas More. There's also a fantastic film featuring Andy Garcia, the world-renowned actor, called For Greater Glory. This movie is like, if you want to watch an action flick about Catholics fighting for their faith on horseback with guns fighting against government.
That sounds logical.
It happened. It is a historical film about
on horseback?
Yes, it is a historical film about the Cristero Wars in Mexico and the fight
I knew his name sounded Mexican. I just didn't want to say it because it sounded really racist.
So there are great movies out there that are about good things. For Greater Glory is one of those. I also highly, 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 highly recommend the movie Restless Heart, about the life of Saint Augustine, or Augustine, depending on how you want to say it. It's another great film that is actually about good things. There are, and then not even, some of the movies on the Vatican movie list didn't really have anything to do with religion, like Schindler's List. It's just a movie about, about World War II. But there are good movies out there. So you don't have to go see crummy movies. Not even movies that are completely explicit, that you watch the trailer and you're like, okay, that movie is going to be bad. Or you're like, oh, that movie looks good, but it's definitely going to be sinful. There are other movies that aren't completely explicit, but you can still look at, and say, I don't think that's going to be a movie that's going to show beauty in it. Because that's what movies are. Movies is an art form. Just like modern art is completely stupid now, just having like Campbell soup cans, that doesn't really show beauty as much as like the Mona Lisa or the Last Supper.
Movies are. You said movies is a art form. It's movies are an art form.
Thank you for correcting my grammar.
You're welcome.
My grammar is an art form.
Your art form is a grammar.
So there are movies that aren't completely. For example, you can take any. There's a movie that's coming out recently featuring a short black comedian and a comedian who played an elf in a very popular Christmas movie.
Elf?
That titled Elf. That
saw that coming.
That, it does it look like a funny movie? Yes. Does it look like a movie that promotes beauty in the art form? Not exactly. So that's an example of a movie that doesn't look completely explicit, but it's still not a movie that's going to promote beauty. Now, why should you want to go see? What's wrong with seeing movies that are a little bit out there? It's that it dulls your senses to... movies can affect us. Music and movies can really affect us, and we're going to discuss...
I know. I saw The Hunger Games, and I thought I could do it.
How did that work out for you?
Not well.
That's what I thought. Music and movies can both affect you in a great way, and we're going to talk about how much music can affect you in a later podcast if y'all want.
I'll sing my favorite tunes.
Which we all know what they are.
A Harry Potter musical.
No, please.
What's wrong with you? I love A Harry Potter musical, guys. You should watch it. I endorse it.
And how has that movie affected your life?
I think Harry Potter was very attractive and talented And I watched Glee because of it, actually. Because
see,
Darren Criss,
this
who
is
plays the lead Harry Potter, basically, because Harry Potter. So Darren Criss played Harry Potter, and then he played Blaine in Glee. And I was inspired to watch Glee because of that. And I didn't realize that he didn't come in until halfway through season 2. And I watched the entire first season. And I was slightly disappointed because he wasn't in. But it was so great, guys. It was Glee.
Or watching Harry Potter musical did affect you in some way because it made you watch another show.
And then I bothered all of my friends and lost them because I sang songs all the time. And by lost them, I mean I made so many more. So many more. I have a following.
Doubtful. You just made my point for me that watching a movie affected you in a major way.
It was a musical.
It was still a movie.
It was a musical.
Watching something that was on film affected you.
I don't know. I watched people on YouTube doing stupid stuff on film. Don't affect me. I mean, I laughed, but that's about it.
Movies that have plot and story.
It was a musical.
Did it have a plot?
No, it really didn't. It really didn't. It was basically all of them doing stupid stuff for 2.5 hours.
Watching the musical still affected you in some way, such that it made you watch an entire another show that you really didn't care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so movies can have some effect on you in some way, and that's really why you should make sure that what you watch is, and this makes me sound like an old person, make sure that what you watch
is appropriate.
Is good for your soul. Because honestly, it is. Why would you want to watch something that didn't make you a better person?
Plot twist, you don't.
Exact. Not even plot twist. Obvious plot twist, like a Shyamalan movie. We could take another 20 minutes discussing how horrible he is, but we're not going to because
we're good people. We don't do that.
Because we here on the show promote love. You want to make sure that whatever you're watching has a good effect, because if a movie has a way such that it can make you into a better person, why wouldn't you want that? Why would you? It's just like why would you eat food that's bad for you?
Because it tastes good, man. Like I eat Chick-fil-A.
That was a bad example.
All the time.
Why would you jump off a building? I know it's somewhat of a really far out
I've never jumped off a building.
Neither have I, because it's bad for you. But in the same way, it's such that watching bad films I don't even want to say bad films, just films that don't promote beauty in some way. And it's fine to watch a harmless, just a film that doesn't go either one way or the other. Just a fun film like Big Hero 6. In the same way, it's, like Big Hero 6, there are movies that are good, however, are harmless, but these movies are fun to watch. Just make sure that the movies that you watch are good movies. And I'm not saying this like, make sure you do it or you're gonna be in trouble with the Lord. It's just, you want to make sure that the Lord. Just make sure that whatever you're doing, it is going to affect you. So make sure that if it affects you, it's going to affect you in a positive way. And do you have anything to say on movies?
Watch the good ones.
You literally just took everything that I had to say.
And I summed it up.
And summed it up in one sentence.
With 3 words.
Watch
the good ones. Nope, 4.
4 words. All right,
I'm just that good, man.
Count. Yeah, just, and if you want lists of more good movies,
if you want me to name my favorite
shoot us
movies,
an email at Rise of Jerusalem, and we will send you a list of really, really, really great movies. Not just morally good, but like cinematically, just good movies that you should see.
Connor will send you a list of really, really, really good movies. Not movies that are just morally good, but also cinematically good that you should see. Connor will. Just Connor. Because I'm not a part of the Rise of Jerusalem email. I'm not at all. I'm just here.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast.
Thank you if you didn't listen as well.
How would they know if they didn't listen, though?
Because I open stuff and then not listen to it.
Yeah, true.
I attend class and don't listen to it.
Ah, true.
Oh no, I have a science test tomorrow. All right.
Have fun with that. So, y'all, thank you for listening to us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, topics you want us to discuss, please leave a comment down below or shoot us an email at riseupjerusalem@gmail.com, RISEUPJERUSALEM gmail.com. And we will get back to you. Also, a correction from last week when we mentioned books and saying that it doesn't matter what you read. We didn't mean that it doesn't matter what you read. It means that
we didn't mean what we said.
We didn't mean what we said. I
back.
listened to that and I was like, oh snap, this is wrong. We meant that people who make a large deal about how magic is bad, it's not as big a deal as they make it.
It's not.
It still matters what you read. Please make sure that, just like movies, the books that you read are good books. Because that can also have an impact. Because if you read
50 Shades of Grey,
then you'll have a problem with it.
It's not going to be great.
Plus, come on, really? There's so many other good books you can read, like Harry Potter.
Or Cat in the Hat.
Hey, I love the Cat in the Hat.
Ham.
Fox and Socks.
Or One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish.
Huzzah, officially endorsed by our show.
Or The Giving Tree.
No.
What?
I hated that book.
My Spanish teacher literally loved that book. That was on my final exam in Spanish.
Like, the boy is so greedy.
Spanish.
The boy is so greedy.
You're so greedy, I know.
The tree is so great.
But the tree gives. The tree just gives.
But the boy only takes. It's like a representation of us and Christ. We take from him, yet he always gives to us.
Don't you love the book now?
No. Emily, do you have anything to say?
Bye, all of you beautiful people. I love all of you.
Anyways, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for spending another hour of your time with us. If you haven't listened to our first podcast, all about Lent and the relation of magic and books.
Then you can't count, because this is number 2.
Yeah, but still, they might have just Google searched Triduum and this had popped up. If that happens, I'm going to be very happy. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can get the information right up as soon as we publish it.
Subscribe.
Anyways, folks, thank you for listening to us. I'm Connor McLaughlin.
I'm Emily Whirl.
Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you so much.
Be a saint, because what else is there?